there's ever a bike that proved that someone at Focus has a sense of humour, then it's the Raven Max Factory 2.9. The Raven is Focus's kind of flat-out cross-country performance bike. Focus have always been renowned for their carbon fibre 29er frames especially. Their cross-country bikes have always been light, they've always been stiff where they need to be stiff, but they've always been remarkably comfortable, considering they're supposed to be like flat-out mile-munching machines. The factory bike, however, takes that comfort and then kind of throws it away. You don't get a suspension fork for the asking price, you just get a suspension-corrected, rigid carbon fibre fork. You do get through axles front and rear to keep the big wheels in check, and you do get very fast rolling Continental rubber. But actually what you get a lot of is lightness. This bike weighs complete 8.25 kilos. That's pretty damn good. So on the face of it, it kind of seems for most normal riding, it's going to be a bit of a rubbish bike. Again, sort of like rigid forks, really sketchy tyres. But the strange thing is, the more I rode it, the more I loved it. And that's actually because of all these weird flaws in it. It's so light, it just picks up speed without you even thinking. You don't even have to try on climbs and it'll just take you straight to the top of those things. However, when you get some interesting descending single track, that's when things get interesting to say the least. That rigid fork means that the bike is sort of skipping over rocks and roots, so half the time you're not actually in contact with the trail. Add in the extremely sketchy Continental Race King tyres, which have a very rounded profile, very low profile tread, not much cornering edge on them. So if you throw roots, wet mud, downhill trails into the mix, things can get out of hand really quickly. The best metaphor that I can come up with for this bike is that it's a pub drunk. It's your best mate 1 minute, and then all of a sudden it decides that you've insulted its mother and it's going to try and kill you. You'll be carving sort of nice single track turns 1 second, then as soon as it gets a little bit slippier, a little bit greasier, you try and turn in more and it just won't have it. It'll understeer for miles, then it'll snap into oversteer, and then you'll hit some rough ground and your wheels start skipping in the air, so you won't be able to brake anyway, even if you had any grip. It sounds like it's terrifying, and it is, but it's also really quite exciting quite a lot of the time. That's the thing with this bike, there really is absolutely no margin for error when you're descending. Going slightly too fast into a corner, you're not going to make it through. Going a little bit slow, you'll kind of be left wanting, thinking, God, I could have gone a lot faster on that. The other thing, that if you get bored of being terrified all the time, or you just want a little bit more comfort, it'd be easy enough to switch the fork out for a suspension unit. I think the standard bike runs 100mm of travel, and then you'd actually have an incredibly competent all-round cross-country race bike. So essentially, there are two kinds of people that should buy this. One is the marathon rider who's going to be riding fire roads up and downhill for days and days on end. The second is someone that enjoys going fast and actually enjoys being terrified on descents most of the time. It sounds like it's awful, it's not, it's actually quite good fun. I was really surprised with a load of different bikes at my disposal, how often I kept reaching for the Raven just because of the sheer entertainment value of missing everything by fractions of an inch and riding trails that you always thought were easy and suddenly realising they're actually incredibly hard and quite terrifying.